Hello everyone and welcome back to Ire Dice. We pick up with our adventures. So at this time, Vire and the other agent of the Faceless have departed those of the party who are within the residential suite at the Vacu Embassy. We will return back to the lower streets of the edge between the Topaz and Jade wards in the capital city, where Gineth and Ati have found their captain, injured from battle against the attacking forces, Sir Hestel Marlon. And as you pull away from that long hug, Hestel just drops the spear out of his hand and we need to get back to the embassy.
Yes, we were just heading over there. I turned to Gineth and just, do we have anything to help with?
I'm tapped out at the moment.
Well, not.
There's gotta be.
Do we have potions?
There might be some in the embassy.
Okay.
We need to alert Lord Vi.
Okay. Yes. I just turn back to Hestel and try to get an arm under his arm, kind of hold him on the back. I don't know how helpful this is going to be, but I'm going to try to carry him along.
Sure, make a strength check.
Oh yeah.
Make a strength check.
That is an 8.
So you kind of try to support Hestel, but he, even through the immense pain of his wounds, he's still trying to kind of stand stalwart and strong, and he still allows you to kind of push up under one arm, but you get the impression that you're not really helping that much, but he is appreciative that you're trying. So the three of you begin to make your way back. At this time, in the Vacu Embassy, what is everybody doing? Sigil, Alakir, Eridor, what's going on?
Eridor is fashioned some of his old robes and these new robes, and he's going to keep the suit that they gave him, but he's kind of put his cape on that he had earlier, and then he's begun to ponder, and as his mind has kind of wandered off, he's started to think just more about the blade, more about this Koldarvan figure, and just wonders if he's going in the right direction, as he's found a bench somewhere, and he's not really, I guess he's resting, but he's not meditating or brooding in anger. He's just kind of just quietly thinking and analyzing what's going on.
Sigil is I realized I haven't described what Sigil looks like, and so I'm gonna take a second to do that.
Absolutely.
If that's all right. So, Sigil is changing back into his old clothes because he prefers them over the dark ones that he's got on now. So, Sigil sits at about 5'10". He's got dark brown hair and he has light blue eyes. Ooh. I was handed a mini and it looks beautiful. Good job, Chris. So Sigil is 5'11" or 5'10", dark brown hair, light blue eyes, almost kind of like snowy white. He's pale skinned. He burns easy, which is ironic given where he's from. He tends to burn easy. But his armor is kind of it's a light. It's pale blue to a white. And then around his neck is kind of like this shawl. You guys know what those Afghans that the Marines wear, something like that. It's like that, but it's white and it's really interwoven, thick, like with some type of wool, but as some of the people know, that's from home. That's from his mother. And so he changes back into that, some dry clothes, and I'm assuming he's probably just waiting outside, keeping watch, and attending to whatever he can, kind of like standing by.
Yeah, so and Orla's just kind of quietly waiting, sitting at kind of one of the chairs by one of the small tables in kind of that main central room where all the individual quarters kind of branch out of. The chamber itself, remember, has those kind of 3 glass panels that kind of stretch up all the way from floor to ceiling, and gives you that wide lookout over a vast majority of the city. Even now, the storm begins to subside. Some of the intensity of the rain outside begins to lessen, but there are still parts of the docks that are completely submerged. Every now and again, there will be flashes of lightning that show only for a glimpse large movement within the waters that are within several hundred feet of the closest docks and beyond further into the bay. Are you standing guard outside or inside the main doors?
Inside, probably that first big window. I'll probably be standing right there.
Alakir, what are you up to?
Now that he's talking about this, I'm sorry. One thing. I think Eridor. How long have we been out there? Since he's been back.
Like waiting since he's been back. This has probably been about 10 minutes.
Never mind.
10, 15
Not
minutes.
enough time.
Okay. Alakir?
Alakir's just back in his quarters, just kind of relaxing, taking some time before, everything begins. You see him just kind of sitting, off of his bed, off to the side, legs hanging off. To give you an idea of Alakir, he's 6'8".
A big ol' hunk of
He's
Asimar.
just this massive.
Oh my.
But he's sitting off to the side, and he's still full together. His mask has been removed, but his face wraps are still active, and they're still in place. And he's just he has that mask down at the nightstand, and he's staring at this this Tonto or short blade that he has aside him, extremely adorned in jade and silver. Something that most of y'all have not seen before, but he's just kind of thinking about.
I also think about 5 minutes after changing, Sigil takes the shawl, that big overwrapping, and he wraps it around Orla as she goes and sits, and he probably gestures her to sit by a fire. I don't know if there's a fireplace in this lobby, but gestures her to sit down, warm up as best she can.
At this time, all of you hear a series of fast-moving footsteps as there is a quick knock at the door, and one of them is pushed open. You see Ginnith kind of rapidly working his way inside and opening the door as you see Sir Hestel Marlin, supported by Audie, injured and bleeding, working his way inside, gritting his...
We need help.
Oh shoot!
We need help now. Please, somebody, Sigil, help.
Damn it, Sigil!
He needs help. He's bleeding out.
Slow down.
I'm not bleeding
I've
out.
got it. Relax.
I don't know.
I cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level. I can't remember. Is that a D4 or a D6?
It's a D8. At 2nd level, 2D8. Ooh. Plus your Wisdom mod, plus half the spell's level, plus your life cleric thing.
Right?
It's plus the spell level
That's the life cleric boost.
Yeah.
So that's like a plus 5.
So that's like a +5. Should be like a +5, right? Because
Or use a spell of first level
Wisdom
or higher
modifier is
to restore
3.
hit points to a creature.
Second
The
level.
creature regains additional hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level, so 4 in addition to whatever you roll.
Cool.
And also wisdom modifier for cure wounds.
Okay, so that's an extra 7, if I'm correct. So that's 13 plus 4, and then plus my wisdom modifier, which is 3. Okay, so that's 20. He heals for 20 points. My brain's not working for me.
Very nice. You watch as you outstretch your hand and kind of that almost white, little bit of blue pulses outward, and you watch as through bits of the broken armor you can see flesh begin to knit itself back together, leaving no scar.
Now, are you feeling any better, or
Yes,
would you
Sigil,
like
I'm
to...
feeling much better, thank you. Now, tell me your side of this evening.
Also, we did find a book. So, once this is all over, we got information. Just,
I nod, gesture.
yeah, just letting the group,
gesture.
everybody know.
Good.
Yeah.
Hestel stands
Oh yeah, he.
and walks his way over to one of the small tables by the windows and begins pouring himself a small glass of some kind of brandy, and takes it and sits down and gestures for you all to take seats among the nearby furniture.
Hearing the commotion, Alec here comes outside. She kind of approaches.
Make a perception check.
If he's not there, I'm going to look for him.
Okay.
Captain. Alec here
Do I hear
approaches
all
the
this
captain.
happening? Am I still in my bath, or...?
I'll say, sure, you hear voices.
So as Alec here approaches, he walks up and faces the captain. He's got his mask tucked away, but things have changed up. It's been a while since Hestel has seen Alec here.
About
He
an hour and
places
45
just-
minutes.
Yeah.
A while.
Still,
It's Dungeons and Dragons time.
we've at least changed appearances.
You went to the character customization menu and changed outfits.
Change.
Yeah, and he walks over and he puts a hand down on Hestel's shoulder, imbuing. Well, I guess we haven't taken a long rest yet, so imbuing 6 points of healing hands, so an additional 6 HP.
Hope you're well. As well as anyone can be in this mess.
Yes.
Where's Mordecai?
Taking a.
Yes, Sigil.
bath? Is
I
he
think
still in
Sigil
the
should go get
bath?
him, or I can. I'll go and
Someone fetch
Taking a
him.
bath?
I'll go get him.
and I run.
Oh,
So I assume I find him.
So you...
or don't.
Okay, make a... Nah, you don't need to. So you proceed back into some of the deeper quarters and find a set of closed wooden doors with brass handles.
Mordecai?
Eridor, is
Yes.
that you?
Our acting captain is back.
Acting captain?
Our captain.
Acting captain?
Captain. I mean Hestel.
You hear from
All right, I'll be out in a
further
minute.
down the hallway. Mordecai!
I'm on my way.
He says he'll be here in a second.
I climb out of the bathtub and I start to put all my clothes on. I didn't have to get new armor for the last mission because
No, you did not.
yeah, I already wear rather dark
It
clothing.
was already on brand.
Yeah.
Sweet
Um,
edge.
Got the supreme
But
hype beast.
as I'm
Hype beast headband.
as I'm putting on my armor, I stop as I'm sliding the pieces over my forearm and just look down for a minute, shake my head, and continue to clasp everything together, not sure what I'm facing, and head out to meet the group.
Yes, so for our listeners, as Mordecai puts on that part of his bracer, his eyes fall across 4 symbols, 3 of which seem to be darkened tattoos. The 4th almost appears to be off-white, yet still showing through the color of his skin. There is an open book with a single raven, an open door with a raven, a headstone of a grave, and a dagger. The first 3 are that darkened color, and the dagger itself is the one which is different. So Mordecai, you proceed outside and see your companions arrayed around the various furniture in the residential atrium.
I walk into the room and I nod to Hestel as I do so and start. Sort of, how is the room laid out currently? And like,
there's several tables, a fireplace, several kind of couch-like, reclining, bits of furniture, several chairs.
Were there just enough chairs for the party and maybe 1 or 2 more? Because if so, they might. Are they all filled, or is there an open?
They're not all filled. There's probably 3 or 4. So the way this room works is it's kind of like a joined set of about 8 to 10 individual bedrooms. So this is kind of a makeshift dining and sitting room. And so different chairs have been kind of pulled from some of the more originally intended dining tables and have, been turned around and brought together to arrange more seating. So there's definitely enough for you.
All right. If there's one open next to Alakir, I pull up and slide the chair out and settle in a little bit stiffly after the last night's battle. But
Hastel sees you enter and says, "Thanks for joining us, Mordecai. My apologies for interrupting your bath." And he gives you a grin. Now, it's good to see you all are alive in my absence. Not that I didn't think you capable, but I was concerned for you. Before I entail my side of the evening, I would like to hear how your mission to the residence of Lady Morgana Hontari.
We found a dragon.
What?
Yeah, there's a green dragon.
He
likes green one.
dealers.
He's a very nice green dragon.
He took a liking to him.
A creature of avarice among all else. Well, yes. And he's attested a lot of
Or
his
the
strength
success of the Hontaris to his strength?
The success of the Hontaris.
Or the success of the Hontaris to his strength?
No, his
I
strength
see.
is...
Either
allowed
way,
for
he's
the
a
success
problem.
of the Hontaris.
We made a deal, and he gave us letters, information
that incriminate the Hontori.
I don't. Yes, other houses won't like.
Hestel turns to
he
Ginneth
was,
and
then Ginneth gave him
They've
to
been
you.
given to Ginneth.
whatever the case, this dragon is going to be a problem, whether the Hontaris unleash it or it just gets bored.
did this creature divulge its name?
Oh, yes. Oh, just excuse me as I. Oh, that's the wrong name. Yes,
Hold
sir.
on, it's coming to her. Give it to her.
Tirik, or Tirik. You know, different tongues, different ways of pronouncing.
And the sea upon your arrival.
Monsters emerge from it, but nothing like this kraken. Or not the kraken, this priest that we saw.
Was it a voice familiar to the one you heard booming throughout the streets not long ago?
Very similar. He was the same one, if my ears didn't deceive me.
When I departed, if you recall, I was on my way to a preliminary meeting of several of the important families subservient to the high houses and the lords and ladies of the high houses, somewhat of a gala. We had only been there for a few brief moments when we heard the commotion in the streets, and lightning struck the citadel. The windows were blown open. Several poor souls destroyed by the strike. From there we quickly tried to ascertain what was causing this and saw the sea coming to crash down upon the docks and lower districts. I retrieved a new blade given to me by Lords Vaklu, and took a number of the company of the guards and soldiers from this embassy and proceeded to the docks and did battle with these beasts. They are familiar to those among this region, but we have never seen this number of them. They are Sahuagin, a feral, aquatic race, with a bloodlust nigh unchecked once engaged. They had others with them, beasts, large fish-like monstrosities, who crashed into the streets, and many of them rid these beasts. Others propelled the water far up into the streets and allowed these leviathans to progress and move troops much quicker than we could. The water slowed our progress, yet boasted theirs.
So you're back. I'm assuming that they are either holding the line or you're falling back to regroup and attack again.
Their forces have
Or the
retreated for
worst.
now. Back into the sea. I do not trust them,
Seems they keep their word.
but at least they have some perverted version of honor.
Kenneth and I, we just got back from the library, and we think we found, what sphere or orb they were talking about. I kind of point to Kenneth where he's holding the book.
Yeah, Kenneth withdraws it from his robes and just hands it back to you. I didn't get a chance to take a good look at it. I was... Well, as we were leaving the library, Lady Morgana apparated into the first floor with several of her mages, and we managed to sneak by them without alerting them to the fact that we had taken a book. She was intending to head to the same section from which we had come from.
The necromancy section and that.
She also spoke of opening up a vault.
Yeah, yes,
The library. Strange.
Necromancy.
She is one of the most accomplished mages of this century.
That's all well and good, but I'm sure at the time like this, now's not a good time for a book study. What does she want with necromancy?
When I offered to help her, it seemed like it wasn't a book study, more maybe finding a... She seemed like she already knew what she was there for.
What did she sound like? Aggressive?
Putting it mildly, yeah.
She yelled at me.
I'm sure that's in her character.
She's normally,
However, aggressive
from
is
what
still
I've heard,
aggressive.
very elegant and decisive.
I actually, I met her earlier this morning, and she offered to help me if I ever needed it. She's usually very nice, it seems.
Isn't this the woman whose place we ransacked and found a dragon?
No, that's what we're gonna do later today.
But, and Hesel chimes in, yes, that is Lady Morgana.
Well, it appears either she's planning to go to war all by her lonesome, or she's planning on using this as an opportunity to attack the remaining houses.
Well, necromancy's all well and good, but this is no time for raising a family.
I don't think I've ever
goes
heard
around.
anyone say necromancy's all well and good before.
As they're starting to talk about Swahagin and stuff, and Eridor kind of zones out for a second, and his brain, so Eridor's brain almost works like a computer. It just, all it is there just to process information.
Eridor goes to his mind palace.
He goes looking around in those mind folders. And Swahagin, he's trying to think if he's heard that before. Has he heard how to take them down? Has he heard any weaknesses? Is anything to help him?
Make a history
Finally, I
check.
get to roll with these wonderful dice. Nice.
Hey.
What is history? Crazy, I didn't that's a 12.
Swahagin are shark-like humanoids that dwell either in large bodies of water on the material plane or vast in their number from the elemental plane of water. They are very ferocious. They are made up, for the most part, in smaller tribes. They are normally led by chieftains, and both males and females have equality within their society, and both are very essential in hunting and protection matters. They don't have any particular weaknesses. They're just aggressive, tough SOBs.
So it's almost like a tribal people, like chieftains and.
In the vast majority, yeah. But the forces that you've seen look uniformed, almost. I mean, they're not wearing, like, uniforms, but they have markings, they have insignias, they have troop numbers and platoons. I mean, you've seen them moving in a trained formation. So this is something different.
Eridor's Wikipedia page ends without him finding any weaknesses, so I guess he just kind of tunes back in, I guess.
Okay. Well, in other news, Astor continues. In order to address these accusations by these attackers, and to discuss what we must do, there has been an emergency session of the Jade Tribunal, called at dawn as opposed to noon. We have doubled the watch of both mages and swordsmen, archers, throughout the portions of the city which border the waters. The best we can do until morning is wait and meet with Lord Svarklu and discuss how they wish to proceed in the rulings of the tribunal. As much as we may want to prove the tenacious and deceptive actions of House Hontari, unless we can necessarily prove that the two are tied, we might have, he grins to himself, bigger fish to fry.
If we feign naivety, perhaps we could gather another ally with House Hontari.
As far as I'm concerned, the
I
whole
agree.
coast
There's no
must
reason.
be allied in this threat. Because we not only approach
But
war from
is
the
this not a
south,
plot
but
from Hontari?
danger approaches
we
from
not-
the north as well.
Maybe they're connected.
If you can find
That's
evidence
true.
or prove in some such way that they're
I
connected,
would
by all
like
means,
to
please.
We have-
analyze the documents. We have them.
Captain, we have an inkling of an idea that Lady Morgana may have taken
On what grounds?
the orb that has caused this issue. But just well, on our time there, on our time spent there, along with these letters that we have received, and although we have not extensively poured through them, she seems to be a purveyor of magical trinkets and relics and things of the sort, and well, as you can see with the dragon, anything that assists in her gaining of power might be of interest to her. As I said,
But it
It's-
is likely.
it's just an
It
inkling,
seems that way.
but
May I see the documents, please? Who has
a
them?
lead. A lead is the lead. A lead is a lead.
May I see the documents, please?
I can.
Yes, we
I
will-
Can help.
Eridor and I will personally pour over them tonight.
I have spent much time studying different documents. I can help with organizing.
This must be a group endeavor.
Yes, we will.
Organizing.
We will take the documents. We will take the documents in a watch.
But for now, what do we know?
all of
what
us will
what
get
all do
the
we
required
know?
wares.
I'd like to.
I grab out the book and I open up to the page. I say, this is what we know about the orb. I just kind of drop it in the middle of. If there's a table like in the middle of all of us, that's where I'm dropping it.
I shout back to Orla. Orla, can you come look at this?
Oh, yes. And Hestel kind of, for the first time, actually notices that there's somebody else in the room and stands and, my apologies. I'm Sir Hestel Marland. I'm the captain of these gathered, and you are... my name is Orla. I run a simple...
She's
I run
with
a
me.
simple
It's
magic
all
shop
right.
in the Topaz Ward. My family's had it for generations. I only met...
Is this your sister? Oh yeah, sorry.
Yo, Chris,
there
why
was
don't
no
you
Oh, yeah.
describe? Why don't you
Oh,
describe
yeah,
what
yeah.
Orla
So-
looks like?
So,
Yeah. So they have my description. Give them Orla's description.
I forgot that happened in a one-on-one session. Nobody actually knows what Orla looks like. So Orla...
Ooh, hey
Orla
everyone.
and her family have been the proprietors of a magic shop in the Jade Coast almost since its founding. Orla is a white as snow, albino-ish tiefling with two horns that curve straight up and then almost bend slightly to the side. Not super long, but about like that. Sorry, podcast listeners, you can't see that. I was using my hands to show horns. She has almost reddish velvet colored eyes that are solid color. She wears simple robes with kind of a light blue kind of sash belt and a gold brooch. Yeah, that's Orla.
Okay, so I resend asking if this is.
No, that's canon.
Oh no.
That's canon.
No, that's Ken. Do we look
Adoption is a thing, guys.
anything like each other?
Well, yeah. I just run up to her and say, "Hi, I'm Ati. It's nice to meet you."
Pleasure. Orla. She shakes your hand.
All right, now don't swarm her. Let us see the book.
So, and I move back over to the book and say, it seems this orb came from a kraken that died, and it was like a really, really big kraken, and
So there's more than one.
yes, there's multiple elemental things. There's stuff with like from giant's eyes that are molten.
Is there a fire kraken?
No, not everything is from a kraken. It's just this orb is, and it seems that like this orb almost like is in. If with it existing, it helps like the ocean work. Yeah. It's integral to everything being normal.
So you mean to tell me like a stone controls the currents?
Okay, this came from a kraken, and it's important for the ocean to work.
I think, Ola, what is your take?
And it's important for the ocean. Oh no! Sorry, this is from the water and whatnot.
So you're saying without this orb, the oceans...
Not go away, but change? Well, probably. I mean, it's never really, been documented, so it's theoretical.
Have I heard about these orbs in my studies?
Make an Arcana check. Actually, a Nature check.
Has there been a legend like this around where I
Actually,
live?
both of you history.
Well, yeah. I was talking about where this came from and that because that's the only thing I've had time to see. Well, I mean, one would assume it affects both.
Gwyneth chimes in. Artie, could you hand me that?
I just kind of slide it towards him.
And he kind of looks over the same page that you are. Kind of pores over it, nods, kind of traces his finger along a couple sentences. Yeah, so what Artie has stated is correct. These stones, called the Jewels of the Depths, originated from the heart of one of the first Krakens, a powerful being whose life force was tied in antiquity to the natural nature of the elemental plane of water. And it appears that these stones, if removed, will parts of those ecosystems and the nature of those realities will cease to exist.
Cease.
That means it won't happen anymore.
But will they die off, or just simply, as a snap of a finger, cease to be?
That means it won't happen anymore.
One would presume a gradual degradation into nothing.
Probably a so painful death.
If there was still time to save such things, it would most likely be that the forces that have come upon our nation would be seeking revenge, not the return of such.
Oh, so, I guess if they want the return of the item, we can assume this happened recently, or else the plane would have already died off.
Correct. 48 hours.
So,
Okay.
sorry,
So-
go ahead.
What did we roll?
We rolled a 10.
What did you roll? You rolled with
6 and
advantage.
5.
Yeah, 10.
6 and 5. That is impressive.
6 and 5.
Because of your background, Eridor, I would say that you will have heard that such deeply primordial elemental artifacts exist, but you've never studied.
Any detail? You just kind of know.
You're like, oh yeah,
You're like, oh yeah, super powerful orbs
It's
and
like-
stuff from each elemental plane that like is like the purest concentrate of those
It's like
planes.
one of those things
Sure.
in class you'll never think about twice, but then it's actually important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like
Okay.
Bastille Day.
Is that, oof. Okay, so is that the same for
We'll
me?
cut that out in post.
Sorry to all our French listeners.
Sigil, you don't know anything about this. I didn't mean at all.
Oof. Well,
Oh.
I
Well, now I have to play my character a lot differently
I'm
now.
guessing that if it was well, when we look through the letters, if we see anything about recently going to the plane of water, we can safely assume we know where the orb is.
Potentially, yes. We still haven't heard Orla's take on any of this, assuming she knows anything, do you?
Do you study the elemental planes?
What? I'll wait until she talks.
I mean, you brought me here to identify an orb that you had. I have heard of these things, but no more so than this book speaks of.
Okay. I would like to
My accent just changed 3 times. Yay, I'm a professional.
get a read on like Orla in general.
Insight check. Forehand or backhand? How does she strike you?
Oh my. Oh.
We'll cut
Okay,
that out
well,
in post.
I do know. Fair enough. Well, looking at this orb, the one in the book, is not the same orb we have.
That does appear to be the truth.
And
It's that was my first
does.
when I saw it. Doesn't at all look the same.
at all,
No, there's
like at all.
water
at
in
all.
this one, not in this one. This has like a light that doesn't.
Water. It's
was
yeah.
a,
that
15 on
that
the roll.
shows you think.
She seems truthful. She strikes you as a intelligent, straightforward, not really a deceiving person. Except when she's lying.
Which is now.
Could we, in theory, use the orb we have to locate the orb of?
Well, so if I'm not mistaken, from our initial identification of it, it's finding
Person,
a
yes.
living person, and we have to wait
Yes,
till dawn
but-
to use it.
I'm sure there could
I
be
think
a
you
way
can
to.
scry on objects. I will check the scry spell.
Oh, then tomorrow then. Oh yeah.
It's time to scry it up.
You can
It's
hear
not
or
going to
see
leave us
a
very much
particular
time.
creature you choose as in the same plane. That is a no.
Particular creature. Perhaps we could see what Lady Morgana is up to. Upon
feels a
then
bit
at the point
creepy.
she'll be at the conference.
So well, if she's not at the conference, we can check. Yes, I like this idea. Well, I think it's important that we start looking at the letters now, just to see if there's anything that would help us with understanding who went to the elemental plane of water.
Agreed. Unless there's anything else as the captain will want us to do.
It seems that as per my orders from Lord Vackler, I am to return to his side, to be his immediate protection. In case there is any kind of validation between the connection of Lady Morgana and this orb, now might be the perfect time for a distraction for the attempt upon the lives of those who oppose the Hontoris. Thus I must, with haste, return to the side of Lord Vaklu.
And as you should.
Permission to
Just try not to
turn in
be too
for
long.
the evening. I've had a bit of a rough go of it.
That's not how this works, right?
That's not how any of this works.
Acting captain.
Well, now that our captain's here, he should...
Well,
I mean, if there aren't any objections. Alakir. In my absence, I am giving you command of the 7th Squad. I bestow upon you, as per my own title, the rank of Sergeant.
Wait, should he be a lieutenant?
Who's a lieutenant? We're not going.
No one is a lieutenant.
No, we're not.
oh, so you're a captain, sergeant. Is there any other rank here?
Let it be Mordecai.
The only person whose rank, and he looks at himself and all the gore that's on him, is myself. Rank like a bad
Did you
smell.
smile?
Haha, we're cutting this out in post. Are we?
We gotta keep all
Leave
the
it.
awkward bits in here.
Gotta hone that craft, baby.
We gotta show him
Oof.
Improvement?
improvement.
Yeah.
Okay, we're cutting out the
gonna
last 10 seconds in post. You all have done well, and I am proud. Besides, I feel that my own... He sighs to himself. I'm a simple soldier. Armor and steel is what I know. But you 5 seem to know more about magic and the divine, gods and the like. So I'm going to do what I know, and that's protecting the men who have put their faith and trust in me. And I now put my faith and trust in all of you. Even more so than before. To find the ties that bind between this orb and Lady Morgana, if it is something that can be found. He kind of looks down, dejected. I shall see you in the morn. At dawn I shall send several of our guardsmen to come and procure you, and you shall be given a place among the seating of House Vaklu, whether you have findings to present or not.
Very well. Do you have
I
something
feel like
else
we should
you would
all
rather
go
be doing?
together. We don't want to split up at a moment where something bad could happen.
Be of better use in hiding somewhere, keeping an eye from afar.
I will consult Lord Vaklu and hear his ruling on the matter. Until then, I would presume that you shall be amongst the rest of the squad. Although I understand your hesitation. Nevertheless, we have orders and a duty. Stands and presides over the door, walking a little better now after the 26 points of healing that has been delivered to him by Alakir and Sigil. I shall bid you all good night.
Bye, I'll still see you tomorrow.
Farewell.
See you tomorrow.
Farewell. Farewell. And he closes the double doors.
Well, where are the letters? We should start work on that
In
immediately.
my robes.
I start to walk towards your room.
Well, would we rather stay out here? Ginneth, I hope you can stay with us.
I really need a rest, but...
You don't have to stay the whole time.
We are taking the documents and watch.
In that case, I will I'll
Okay,
stay,
what time
yeah.
is it right now?
It's now about 9:30 or
Fantastic.
so.
We're taking dawn at like 7, 8, something like that. Cool.
Yeah. You've got a little about
A little under
proud-
12 hours? A little under 10 hours?
Yeah, probably about 9 to 10 hours before dawn. So definitely enough time for everybody to get
Nice.
8 hours and put in about an hour.
Fantastic.
Or
Get some good Z's.
because I'm an elf, so I can help someone and do my own.
You will.
Also with
Flex.
because we only need to sleep 6 hours, and we can do 2-hour watches with it.
Remind me of why again?
It's just long rest rules. You only need to be sleeping for 6 hours and 2 hours of like light labor or reading.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So you can sleep in
in that case,
till dawn.
Mordecai, take your leave and rest. We know that the mornings are rough for you. You've had your bath.
Are you gonna take another bath?
I've already had the one. I don't see why I would need
All right.
another.
Well, then to bed with you. Sigil. This girl seems rather enamored with you. Cookers.
What? What do you mean?
Actually, before I go, Orla, was it?
Yes.
I have something I could use your help looking at.
And what would that be?
What?
Don't worry about it, Artie. I've had it long before this.
What you're saying doesn't make me any more comfortable.
The yellow liquid in the eye floating in it.
Wait, what is that?
Oh no, you should have waited until she went to bed.
Is that from the stew?
No.
No, it's from the witches.
No, there
No.
was a potion we found in the witch's
from the
hut.
witch's
Yeah, I remember.
But I'm saying that I found it long before that.
Wait, what?
If I need deception, let me know.
Deception. Naughty insight.
He is lying through his teeth. He's telling me the utmost
14.
truth.
15.
Boom.
Hard to read.
What is that? What is that?
It's a potion. I've had it for a while now. I just haven't found anyone who knows what it is.
I
didn't want
I'm
to
a
fall asleep
researcher.
that
I can study magic. And you've had this for how long?
several months.
I'm gonna turn to Orla
Pulling it out now.
in this moment. I am so sorry. She does this
Artie.
anytime she's around anything magic.
It's not that it's
It-
Magic is
dangerous.
something to be embraced.
Mordecai,
We've
what is the
agreed.
likelihood
She
that we
doesn't think
use
that way.
this potion? This salve?
I mean, it's got an eye in it, so I don't know.
I start to walk towards you.
Just
I
kidding.
start to walk towards you, Mordecai. And I say, I can figure out what it is.
Actually, I believe he asked Orla.
Alec here
I wanna
reaches
be
in
in
his
the middle.
pocket
Researching.
and pulls out this big old thick packet of letters and whatnot. Artie, I believe we have more pressing matters to attend to.
I just don't understand how none of you understand the reason I was put in this group is for magical purposes.
I don't think you understand that I brought Orla here to understand anything she could help us with.
This does not involve her. It involves that no matter how long I've been in this group, none of you think I know magic when that's the only thing I know.
I'm just going to
The only
step
reason-
out for 1 minute and let you.
Artie, we went from having one.
It's
Just
fine.
1 second.
Let's
have him
okay?
too.
I'm just going to.
No, every time
See if
magic
all the
is
windows
involved,
in the other
none of you
rooms
care
are
what I
still
have to say
intact.
about it.
She
even
turns
though
on a
that's the
diamond.
reason I was put in this group.
I show her wherever my little quarters thing
Yeah, you
is. Oh, you can stay there
Artie-
until this is all over.
I would let you look at this, but in the past, you must admit you've taken anything from us
Acted
that
harshly?
could be possibly magic, or
What did I take from you? You did not let me identify any of it. That's all I wanted to do, and that's what I kept on saying, but you assumed that I wanted to destroy it. You assumed
No, I assume you treat us like children anytime any one of us
and
are
you
around
guys
magic.
don't treat me like a child at all times?
To be fair, we've also had
Okay.
Eridor to
I look her up and down.
study individual items, such as the orb.
But that's not the reason he's in the group. That's the reason I'm in the group. You took away the one reason I'm here.
Artie, your purpose is so much more than identifying magic. If you would get over yourself and see that you're worth more than magic, perhaps you could just see that.
Magic is the only thing that I know right now, and by the gods, I will do what I know.
I walk over to Alakir and make a motion for the papers and walk out. Just start
Into
studying.
walking
Perhaps
off
you
the
could let
suite.
something else besides magic be your
Alec-
priority.
Alec here
Be
hands
the
him the
only
papers.
priority for me right now.
And why is that when there's more pressing matters?
Oh, this matter is more pressing than what's happening right now, but none of you will care about it. Mordecai, give me that
You
potion.
seem dead
I will
set on
figure
telling
out
us
what
some-
it is.
I'm putting my trust in you. Don't make me regret it. I leave my hand on the bottle for a while, just staring Auntie down.
Go and grab it.
The eye in the bottle is also staring Adi down.
Yes, it's looking up, swimming around.
Actually, as you mentioned that, the eye is locked on Sigil.
Just try and show some grace next time one of us wants to keep something.
Do I hear that? The world doesn't center around you.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we began this journey to enter Helgard's coffin. The reason you were there in the camp is to assist us.
I'm already in my room.
Well, she'll go identify. She may bring it out. I'm going to go with Eridor to study the papers. Ginneth, you can join either myself or Ati, but your rest is of the utmost importance.
We've all tried. Alec here, I don't
I'll
see us breaking through anytime soon.
We got to keep all the awkward bits in here.
Sigil, wake me in 2 hours and I'll take a watch.
Sigil,
We gotta
I
show
suppose I'll
improvement.
just
You have a
remain
guess.
on watch.
Improvement.
we're cutting out the last.
If anyone else is taking requests, I'm taking them for the next 10 minutes. And it's all
we
the
wouldn't
best way.
mind a snack in the study room, but
Sigil invents finger guns.
That's just weird.
You'll come around to it.
Normally when I see people do finger guns, firebolts shoot out from their fingertips.
It's canon! It's canon! Finger guns shoot actual things. Okay, anyways. No, that's what this. I'm missing another firearm. So many things happen and you lose track of time.
I just spin around on my heel and head towards my quarters.
Mordecai, enjoy your night. Sigil, actually, one last thing if you could. You remember Vire, yes?
Via, yes.
If you can, send him a message and see if he can reach us.
Do you have sending prepared?
I do.
But take your time with it.
No worries.
You have more pressing matters.
I believe that's what, 26 words?
Yeah.
Anything in particular you wish me to tell him? Or simply ask for his location?
No, just that we wish to see him.
Fair enough. I believe I can fit that in under 26 words. I don't know why. It's a weird glitch. Only does 26 words. And I'm mumbling to myself as I go up the stairs. I knock on the door. Hola?
I feel like we should all go together. We don't want to split up at a moment where something bad can happen.
It's also 25 words.
Shoot. I open the door slowly. I wanted to apologize for Artie's behavior.
Oh, it's fine. I have siblings. I'm quite used to stuff like this.
Yeah, I have Kamal. Unfortunately, he acts more like a younger brother, but he's almost the same age as me.
I think you might have mentioned his name before.
Yes.
Friend?
Close friend. I'll tell you more about him later. However, I figured I would make dinner, or at least something light for everyone. I didn't know if you wanted anything.
That would be lovely.
Absolutely. I'll take a rest, but I'll probably just sleep on the floor.
Where are the letters? We should start work on that immediately.
Go. And then I close the door, and then I kind of like lean against the hallway. Oh, you're an idiot. I'll just... I stutter like a stork.
You're alright. You hear through the door.
Yeah, I'm quite alright. And then I just walk down the hallway, back towards the main chamber.
You don't have to say the whole time.
As you leave, you hear, as your footsteps go down the hall, you hear just a little giggle from the other side of the door.
I'm an idiot. I own this. I am an idiot. Oh, and I almost fall down the steps. Okay.
Are you going to cast Sending?
Yes, I'm going to cast Sending. Fire? Vire. So I'm going to cast that. Via, we need you at the embassy as quick as possible.
Because we only need to sleep 6 hours, and we can do 2-hour watches with it.
Are you sure?
It's just long rest rolls. You only need to be sleeping for 6 hours and 2 hours of like light labor or reading. Yeah.
Alec here wants to tell you something. My name is Sigil. Send.
Are you gonna take another bath?
I feel like the old grandma. How do you work? Do I type send? We'll cut that out in post.
Your eyes kind of pulse with that same almost pure white energy as your voice kind of echoes down the stairs, but almost stops prematurely of where the sound should naturally carry it, as if the actual waves of sound itself are ushered off elsewhere.
Man, that never gets old.
A few moments pass. This is Vire. You hear in your head. I've returned to the side of the Faceless, and we watch and take action in preparation for whatever might occur. Tell the Child of Flame that the Faceless is waiting, and that the Faceless is looking forward to whatever will occur at tomorrow's tribunal. He wants to tell the Child of Flame that an important guest will be there.
Alakia! And I just go down towards the embassy stairs. I'm assuming they're... Okay, in my mind, there's the embassy stairs, there's a little entrance, atrium, whatever, and then there's a big door that goes into, like, a conference room or something?
Yeah, so you guys are on... There's a large structure that then has multiple wings on ascending floors. So one of the wings is the residential area. So you're still within a small part of the Vaklo embassy. You haven't gone, like, outside. You're, like, still dilly-dallying up around.
Cool.
On, like, the
I'm going to go to the room where they are looking. Alakia,
Yes.
I have a message.
From Vira, I assume.
Via, yes. He has returned to the Faceless, and apparently the Faceless are waiting and preparing for whatever is going to happen at the tribunal. They're looking forward to it, prepared. They said that there may be an important guest. So clearly he's not coming, but he's preparing for something, someone, to be there.
Thank you.
Do you think that the Faceless are going to do a strike on Morgana?
If we can prove her guilt.
Then I guess I will leave you to it. Come get me when it's my turn to try.
Yes.
And I go to the window panes and I begin to pensively stare through them for any sight of danger.
Make a perception check.
17.
You look through the window and continue to see that the rain has now all but subsided. A light sprinkling only remains. The sky itself still the dark of night. The docks still overtaken. But no sign of any Sahuagin. You do see movement, but it's coming down from the city, like troops and other people. There are still people roaming the streets, gathering their things, trying to relocate.
I guess I'll take the remainder of my time during the watch doing like a perimeter sweep, like walking around the rest of the area. Because I'm assuming it all interconnects.
Alakira starts to head towards Eridor, and in that moment he kind of like walks past and he kind of notices over his shoulder the pensive, the analytical sigil sitting there. And when he's about halfway down the hall, decently far away, he kind of hears this, like, not yelling, but this louder voice. Sigil!
Yes?
We have guards for watch. Go cook for your woman. And Alakir continues to walk and opens the door, and he hears the door close behind him.
I do so.
Make a performance check.
We got ourselves a 16.
What kind of light midnight snack? Pre-midnight snack.
Okay, so I've decided what I'm gonna I'm gonna make some like a hot tea with a little bit of like I don't know, I guess ginger. Dang it, guys. Light tea with ginger, but with like a light cream on top. But off to the side is going to be like a little like butter scone with little yeah, exactly that. Except if I could get the words come out of my mouth, I would say that faster. And then I guess for Eridor, I'm going to make literally just like a ham and cheese sandwich stuffed into a butter scone. Lit indeed. And I guess I'm gonna drop off his light snack, then go upstairs. So, Alakia?
Yes.
Not super hard, but like I kick open the door, like prop it, This is for you.
Thank you.
And I just hand it to him.
He takes it and
Yeah.
goes back to his place at the table.
Cool. And I
Eridor's with Alakir, so I know you made this stuff for Eridor and give it to him too.
yes, I make him one as well. And I pass.
Sandwich.
Eridor takes a bite. He says, "Oh wow, this is quite good. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's family recipe.
You're a terrific cook."
Thank you. Mother raised the son well, I guess. And I'm going upstairs, and I mumbled to myself once more. And so I nervously knock on the door. Hola.
Yes.
I bought you something. I've got the scone in one hand, and then I've got the tea in like a cup and a dish that I found, and the plate is chattering. I'm like, here you are, and I'm trying to keep the straightest face possible.
Your hand is shaking.
I'm
Are you
fine.
cold? I'm fine. All right then. Takes the plate and scone and gingerly sips it. That was a pun because it was ginger.
Funny joke.
No, she takes it.
And
Takes it all right. We're cutting that out.
I see this out of the corner of my eye, and I can't. I'm trying to hold character, and I can't.
All right.
Sigil nut, baby.
Lady killer.
Resume.
This is delicious. Thank you.
How it tastes. Well, if you need anything, let me know.
Once again, if there is anything I can do to use my magical talents to help in the analysis of the letters. I will do whatever I must.
Sigil's face is red. It is red.
The head is red. The head is red.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm really sorry to get you mixed up in all of this. Yeah. It wasn't really your spot, and everything is all hectic and whatnot, and I figured you might be able to help, and Artie could use an extra pair of hands to help look out for her. And you seem like a kind of person I could trust with something like that, and she could use the help, and I can't really. I'm sorry, I'm muttering.
It's been a very interesting day.
And I'm all out of charm, as you can tell.
And I believe you still owe me breakfast as well, according to our first
I
deal.
do. This is how you say a bonus.
Well, I look forward to breakfast, hopefully without so much interruption.
Agree. Perhaps it appears fish may be on the menu, considering that I'm pretty sure some of them are falling out of the sky.
She slightly smiles, but does not laugh.
Ooh. Well, swing every sword. You're bound to cut something. Whether it's yourself, you'll never know.
I'm going to retire after I
Of
finish
course,
this.
and as you should, I will go back. Thank you for everything you've done. You've been swept up in my little adventure quite a little bit, and all in such a short time. I really can't thank you enough.
You're welcome.
And with that, I leave.
You shut the door behind you?
Slowly, I kind of like do like the casual wave and close the door, but
Sherry's back.
and I'm slowly closing the door. And I guess I go back down with Alec here, but I guess I go back to my watch and wait until my time's up.
Okay. Eridor and Alakir both make rolls with advantage cause you have Gineth.
Okay, and
And Gineth's an archaeologist, a
Perception
subclass I wrote
rolls.
for wizard, which specializes
Perception
in the protection of others and actual identification of magic. Basically, an arcane archaeologist.
hey, so
An
I'm-
What you
arcanologist.
want? Arcana? Perception? So perception.
Investigation.
I'm staying there 4 hours.
So perception. God damn.
4. So
I rolled a 20 and an 18.
A natty 20? That is our first natty 20 of the recording. That is the triumphal entry that will follow every natural 20. You heard it here.
I'm staying there 4 hours.
Roll.
Does that affect anything?
Nope.
Can we follow the nat 20s by Scott's fart?
Oh my gosh.
Sure, we'll cut it out in post.
That would be a dirty 20.
That should be accompanied by Scott's fart.
Yes, natural 20s will be accompanied by fanfare. Dirty 20s will be accompanied by...
And
So
for
when
those
they're
of
not
you who
ones.
don't know what
Now
dirty
known as
20s
squirty
are,
claws.
those are unnatural 20s.
20s that are 20s by modifiers.
So yeah, so to give you that example, I rolled just a 20 straight on a 20-sided die, and
18
plus his 2 modifier. Thankfully, I only have a +0 modifier in investigation. That's why I was really, really hoping it was perception.
So the two of you pore over the small bundle of letters for several hours. And while much of it is deeply mundane, there is an exuberant amount of trade that grows in recent times over the past year or so of these parchments and ledgers, in which you see House Hontari doing lots of trade with houses that they don't normally trade with. You see more houses being entwined with their economical gain.
Any houses stand out?
Technical question. Who's making the profits? Does it sound almost like charitable? Like how...
Other houses are profiting very well off of House Hontari. But that much being said, House Hontari itself is also making a lot more money off of the economical trades between the other houses. They are managing to, it seems like, get the same quantity or even more of a quantity for less from these houses over time, as if other houses are giving them much better deals than the normal rates.
Does this shift coincide with some of the stuff I read from this book earlier? Like when it happens?
What specific things coinciding?
Let
are you
me get my
asking?
notes out and go back to what you were doing.
Okay. Specific houses that are profiting more are Anju, Taipei, Tuvanyu, in Kimizawa.
I'd like to make a history check with my background to just see if I know that it's a little out of the ordinary. I mean, we know it's out of the ordinary in the first place.
It comes off
Yeah.
the page.
But if these are these poorhouses coming to prominence? Or are they...
Middle of the ground.
Okay.
Give me a history check for more. I'll let you do that with your background.
Yikes. That is a 7. So not much.
You're not too familiar with any specific individuals. I mean, you know of, obviously, the lords and ladies of the houses. But, let's just say, normally, the way that, as I've mentioned before, the Jade Coast mostly works on about 2 or so major alliances, and then a bunch of houses that play neutral, so that the two don't go to total war with each other. Vaklu is on one, Hontari is the other. Hontari has always been larger, but not so much of a majority to make it feasible to start a war. A specific house that I think you're inquiring about has been the head of the neutral houses based off of their positions of responsibility. They are normally the lawbringers of the society, and there are many members of said house within all the cities of the Jade Coast, and though they do not make the law of the individual houses, they enforce it to some extent in a formal setting. The judges, the juries, and the like. And the executioners.
Okay. So I can't find my notes. However.
You also find.
Oh, should you want to continue? Okay, sorry.
I've got more. You guys want to hear some more?
Keep going.
But that's not all.
With a natural
So sorry
20.
for interrupting, Chris.
About 3 weeks prior, you find the purchase of a small fleet of dinghies from House Kimizawa. And the intended purpose of said dinghies is listed as a pleasure cruise to examine the beauties and jewels of the sea.
Well, sounds like a jewel of a deep, if you ask me.
There are also continual shipments of meats, all continuously sent in from House Taipei, which does make sense, as at least Morgana is feeding a dragon. That's continual, though. That doesn't spike, but you do come across that detail, and it stands out to you.
Yep, I guess my hunch was correct. They're somehow working together.
Yeah. If Lady Morgana is going to be at this meeting tomorrow, we must think, who has the orb? Who can we find in proximity of the orb?
Do we glean, or do we realize maybe there was something of importance, some bodyguard, someone, some soldier that went on this cruise?
If you had something so important, wouldn't you use a dragon to protect it?
Possibly, yes.
But would it be worthwhile to scry to rock?
Why would the dragon betray her, though, for us? What?
Depends on how good the deal is.
Yeah. Well, I think we left a whole lot unanswered with that dragon. We could... Yeah. I think that we should continue to go over these papers and see what else we could get, but this is quite vital information. I do believe that maybe with one move we can take out both these threats.
Or use them against each other.
Mordecai!
I do believe there may be somebody we have to go see.
Yes, let's...
Chris, around what time is it?
I would say it is now approaching midnight.
Okay.
Alec, I'm not sure if you've come across anything, but I'm about to switch the watch.
I message this. I can go visit.
Hmm.
If you need to rest.
Well, Sigil, you take the rest of the night. You can rest now. Go back to your quarters.
All right.
Wake Mordecai, if you can.
If I can, perhaps he drowned himself in the bath again.
Well, he did take just the one.
Just the one. And I go off to do such.
I will go find Ati. Guinness, I'll leave you with Eridor.
As you turn and face Kenneth, who has not said anything in about 30 minutes, you see that he is nose down into the pages of the elemental book. Just...
Guinness,
Jewel of the Depths, yes.
take your rest.
Yes, Sergeant.
Is he gonna go back in his book?
He closes the book and... stumbles off.
Is the room now empty? Is it just me and Eridor?
It's you and Eridor. Mordecai.
Mordecai? You didn't drown in the bath, did you? Are you rolling to see if you died?
Fatality.
Mordecai! Oh, for God's sake. I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna kick the door.
Make a athletics check.
Athletics check into my legs.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh. It's like a 12. Wait. Yep, it's 12.
We kicked the door loud enough for him to wake up.
Mordecai.
Mordecai, as your eyes open, you see before you the open door, but the same as your arm. You hear low voices echoing around you, almost as if reciting some song of lament. One would say a requiem. And you see in one hand this dagger, curved. Along its base, the grip almost stretches out like the claw of a raven from the blade. And looking down at your feet, you see that you are standing in front of a headstone. A headstone marked Malcolm Garin.
Mordecai, get up!
Yes, Sigil, of course. I go and I open the door. Sorry, there was a... Never mind.
I understand my accent's peculiar, but I hope you don't find it that relaxing. Sheesh. I walk off.
I strap a bunch of my weapons to me and I head.
And Mordecai.
Yes.
Just do better with Artie.
I'm sorry?
Do better with Artie. Apparently you seem to be the only one that has some sort of influence in her
I don't know what
life.
you're talking about. I barely know the girl.
The girl seems to pipe off, and then the girl all of a sudden wants to listen to you or care about you. So please, for the sake of us all, try to impart some wisdom. And with that, close the door.
Well, my nice new D20. That's a natural 20.
Also, for those who are new to the podcast, Micah is known for rolling really, really high. So
They're weighted.
This
We're
is a
pretty
new
sure.
die.
Yeah. He has new dice, and we're also pretty sure that we're weighted.
Okay,
I
thank
got
you,
it
Chris.
weighted for you to stay on brand.
Hold the brand.
You're welcome.
Hold the brandy.
Yeah, so you see Alakir and Eridor there studying. Everyone else has gone to bed.
I look here.
Yes, Mordecai.
Just a greeting.
Well, stay with us a moment, if you don't
Sit
mind.
with you.
Yes, there's something you may want to know.
I cautiously move towards the table and pull out a chair across from you.
Take a seat. If you would allow it, could we clear out the other two party members, or would you like to leave it as is?
Okay, so I'll say at this time, as you hear Mordecai's voice in the other room, you venture back out, just for simplicity. And so I'll say you've already taken some time to rest, kind of waiting for Mordecai to return, but hearing Mordecai's voice, you also come back in the room.
I have the potion. I don't know how useful it is for you. This lets you see without seeing. One would say even a blind person would have sight with this.
Why would that not be of use to me?
Well, earlier, when pure darkness surrounded me, you looked me directly in the eyes and could see what I was doing, so I assume you don't require sight.
Yes, well, thank you, Artie. I will hold on
Well,
to
I'm just saying this may be better in somebody else's hands.
I will hold on to it for now. Yes, Alakir, you can have this.
just for everybody to know, it gives a character blind sight up to 40 feet for 3d12 minutes.
So you roll 3d12, that's how many minutes you get. And you have to drink the eye. You have to...
Is it chewy?
Only
Or is
one
it
way to
like-
find out, really.
Is it like a gobstopper?
No, it's like one of those little like Krabby Patty guns.
Basically the worst mochi ball tea, or boba tea, boba tea you've ever had.
Well, Chris, who inhabits the room right now?
The four of you.
Well, Artie.
Oh yes, I'll start reading the letters.
I appreciate your work. I must speak to Ire in private.
Oh well, I can work on the letters in here. You can go out to the hallway, or I can take these letters with me.
Everyone, before I take my rest, there are a few of you that I'd like to have a word with. He then kind of goes over.
Should I stay in here then?
Oh no, that's okay. I'll give you your instructions shortly. So he gathers the last bit of the letters. Eridor, may I?
Oh, which ones have you read? Before I start reading those, I'd like to know what information we already know.
Yes. We have found some rather interesting financial records of Lady Morgana. A lot of the wealth that the coast has enjoyed recently has been of her doing. Now,
Yes, not... would be, as we'd say, quite extraneous. Not...
Now, no one would say that an upmarket is a bad thing, but she did have a particular ledger buying a fleet of ships, small ships, dinghies, if you will, to go enjoy and explore the sights and jewels of the seas.
The jewels or the jewel?
Well, you did mention there were multiple.
Well, yeah,
And one can
but
infer.
because they only asked for one, I assume only one was taken.
Well, maybe that was all she could get away with.
Good point.
We will give you these. Eridor, may I take that letter? Yes. You take the.
Is there anything about maybe where they're holding it?
That's what we're trying to figure out. We believe, well, not believe, but we have a hunch that maybe Turok is protecting such an orb. And I believe that
Oh.
if we could cut him a big enough deal, that we could maybe get him to turn on one such Lady Morgana. But
If
the biggest question I would like you to answer, if you can, is we must know, in the case that Lady Morgana is with us tomorrow morning,
well, wouldn't
who
it?
should we scry? Who should we try to find around and with
Well-
the orb itself?
Well, so if Lady Morgana is going to be there tomorrow, wouldn't that be the wisest time to return to her abode?
I will handle that.
Perhaps I could skip the meeting and go and deal with that.
Well, last
Maybe.
time
That
we
will be
barely left
discussed.
alive. But if we need to make a deal, I do have information that Turk would find interesting.
Well, in the meantime, let's at least begin to think of who would be the best individual to scry
Well,
on in the morning, and then
Well, if
pour over the letters and see who else or what else you can find within them.
well, yes. Okay, I will read this, and before you head to rest, after I have some time to think, I can come up with some good decisions of who to look at, and I mean, with a big enough deal Turek probably would tell us where it is, and I have information. Yeah, okay. Yes.
Yes, I theorize he may be guarding it, as it's a rather valuable asset, but I may very well be wrong.
Okay, yes. Okay, I'll read some of these letters more.
Yes, thank you. You two, come with me as I return to my quarters.
If that's the case, I would like Robbie and Jake to depart temporarily.
All right, well, to give you kind of a view, Auntie is staying within the room where she's studying. She's on her own, beginning to, I believe, pore over the letters, and we are making a walk back to my quarters.
Yes, as we're walking, I keep reaching down and touching various weapons that I've got strapped to my person, making sure they're still there.
I'd like to make a perception check to see if I notice that.
You do?
Hide it.
Mordecai, it's all right. You said you trusted me, yes?
As much as I trust anyone else in this group.
Well, divulge too much. But all I can say is that the Faceless are on our side.
And how do you know this?
In my time away from the embassy, Vire and Nergor, may he rest in peace, brought me to see their leader. The Faceless himself. And it's been an interesting journey, but I believe that they have the best interests of the coast at heart.
What did... You don't have to tell me a name, but what did the leader look like?
You've seen the symbol, yes?
Yes, I did.
And Alakir reaches down and grabs his mask that he has. And he holds it out kind of like... Okay, Loki kind of like Pokeball-esque, like he's got it out there. But not all the way. He's like, well, similar to this, but in the style of their insignia. I have not seen the man's face personally.
Sure, go ahead.
That is an 18.
You have never heard of the Faceless until the events that have brought them to your attention in the recent days. Not even in your time amongst the Rose Coffin and in the service of Whisper, the leader of the Rose Coffin. Have you ever heard of the Faceless or the identity of their leader, the Faceless?
Well, if the disloyalty of Lady Morgana is true, if what we believe to have taken place to be correct, I do not want to reside or return to a coast under that rule, and I would much rather not return to a coast that is under the sea.
So what do you have in mind?
We are, shall we say, going to have the other houses help us in taking down this house.
It's a very detailed and well thought out plan. How do you plan on doing this? What leverage do we have besides these notes?
The neutral houses fear war, but above all else, they fear corruption, and they fear the failure of the coast. If we can convince the other leaders, the Faceless as an organization, and all those else we can find, that House Hontari is not interested in the coast as a whole, but yet their own success,
then Hontari shall fall.
Look, I will not pretend that I know much about this coast. I'm a stranger here, but where I come from, noble can't always be used in the same manner as the word noble, meaning honor. They only care about themselves.
this may be true. But with the sea at our walls, and the very safety of their people and their families at risk, things might be just a little different. They may not act the most noble, but they might act with preservationist tendencies. You'll have to prune the vine eventually. And it seems that we've come to such a point. Now, Eridor.
Yes.
You need much less rest than I do.
Yes.
I would like you to visit the Faceless.
It shall be done.
Prepare for tomorrow. But do not strike without a signal.
Will do.
Thank you. Alec here pulls out a little piece of parchment, if he has one, maybe a fragment of a letter, or things like that, and quickly, in some way, not a address, but, directions of sorts.
To the assumed place.
The assumed place. And hands them to Eridor.
And as that happens, I message to you amulet.
Mordecai.
Yes.
I cannot say that you are exempt from tomorrow's meeting. But if Eridor returns with good news, and you find yourself, or we find you to be in good faith with our cause, I will not notice if you slip out. I don't think the tribunal will either. Like you said, we are outsiders.
Thank you, Alikir. I appreciate that. Eridor, if you might, let me and Alikir talk for a moment.
Eridor, you may go.
Yes, I head to my quarters and start meditating.
And then there were two.
As Eridor leaves, and the room comes to a different kind of stillness between the two of you, there is the soft cry of a single raven.
I am here to help. But there are people I know to be in this city that I cannot have find me.
All I will say is, you will be safe within the Faceless.
I knew that were true.
I do not believe tomorrow's happenings to be easy. But change will come. And this has been a long time coming. The gods reward the patient.
Parents, the gods reward those that do things for themselves, but...
Well, get your rest. After spending a little time calming Ati. And remember, the oath of the Ravager. And Alakir reaches out to give kind of like that forearm grip. Vicious at all costs. Ferocious, deadly, above all else. Thank you, friend. And Alakir walks back off to his chamber.
And I walk back to the commons area where Auntie is studying.
As you begin to walk away, Mordecai, I want the two of you to give me perception checks.
Did that crit from earlier not count?
No.
Oh, goody.
It's been long enough.
How many?
Each of you to give me a single.
Like that.
Nice 5.
That's a even nicer 16.
That's good.
That is much nicer. Mordecai, you begin to turn away and you... I'm not sure, but you hear some tapping sound. And Alakir, you turn and see that there is a bat against the window.
Just kind of like flying into the window.
Like flying and with one, like perched up and with one wingtip. Very methodically tapping the glass outside.
How much can I tell about said bat? Is it just like, with my 16, am I like, oh, that's weird? Or am I like...
You're like, there's a bat. Very rhythmically and intelligently tapping the glass.
Mordecai, pay that attention, if you will. If I point out, does he need to make another perception check, or does...
No, if you point it out, you see it. You're like, hey, look at that. And you're like, ooh.
What is that?
I do not know, but...
History check. See if I know of anything like this.
Sure.
13.
I've heard of strange creatures that can perhaps change their form.
Do I have a, does Divine Sense give me anything?
This creature is not a celestial, a fiend, and is not undead. But close.
So tiefling? Tiefling?
I mean, no to that question, but you could find out.
Would you like another perception?
I mean, you can find out by opening the window if that's what you want to do.
I think he wants us to open the window.
I mean, do what you want.
Alec here's still walking down the hall. I'll leave this one up to Mordecai. I still have some smites left, just in case.
I'm at 15 hit points.
I've still got some.
Yeah,
I've got something, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. One shiv drawn. I walk over to the window and I ease it open slowly.
The bat and just lands in the center of the ground, and you watch as its wings outstretch, and you watch as its form shifts and grows, the wings almost being stretched and rolled again and again around the arms as they take humanoid shape. The back arches as additional vertebrae construct, and almost this vaporous pool of shadow just kind of drifts off of the ground.
This is enough to get my attention, right?
Yeah, you see this as Vire once again re-enters the room and runs his hands through his hair and says, "I am sorry to intrude now, but..." Turns to Alec here. Takes one look at Mordecai. "He needs to talk to you. Now." And he puts one hand on the part of the window that you just pushed up, looks at Mordecai and says, "Do you trust him to stay?"
Mordecai?
Duh.
I believe that Sigil requested I have a word with the girl. But if you wish me to go, I will.
You stay with her. She needs company.
Very well. Or shall I say, very well. Because Russian, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm really bad at it, but we're doing this.
Well, Vire, I do need my rest, but we are...
This will not take long.
Aye. Let's go.
You watch as he pushes open a little more the window, and you watch as two spiraling, continuous, vaporous, shifting shadows almost peel up through the window and just glide across the floor, and then become corporeal as two more figures enter the room. Mordecai, as you are leaving the room, aren't you leaving the room, right? Yeah, as you're leaving the room, you take one last glance over your shoulder as you open and close the door behind you. You get a slit of two figures. One about 6'4", just a little bit smaller in height than Alakir. A very similar build. An iron mask with a horizontal slit. Two dark iron pauldrons. Like a long black leather trench coat that goes to either sides that has bits of chainmail and other things. One hand bears a heavy gauntlet, as one shoulder is a continuous armor piece with spiked knuckles on the ends of the iron gauntlet. The other is loose and has a single dark cloth wrapped around the center of the hand. This, you presume, is the Faceless. The other figure you see is even larger than Alakir. As in one moment, that last second before the door shuts and your form is gone, you see the 8-foot-tall, onyx-skinned Goliath, Yaugrit, in dark leathers. The first thing you see that finds shape, one forearm with that dark iron chain wrapped around the forearm. The figures find shape and you shut the door, breathing hard. Make a stealth check.
I rolled a 6 on the die, so that's a 17.
Yeah, it is, baby. The door shuts and you hold your breath as you quietly tiptoe away. Alakir, you watch as Vire kneels before the Faceless. And actually, I want Micah to leave the room too. Alakir,
Yes.
you stand. Vire drops to his knees, and you see the large onyx-skinned Goliath with almost burned, branded scripts into the sides of his forehead and around the top of his skull and down the neck. What languages do you speak?
I speak. Give me a second. Common, Celestial, and Abyssal.
You recognize bits of the markings upon his head. You recognize different phrases in Abyssal about repurpose, rekindling, chains, and one branded symbol along the upper right, just above the eyebrow, catches your eye. It is almost a symbol, not a letter so much. Almost this charred goat's skull with a spiraling tongue that wraps around the entire skull in bits and fragments, with one broken horn. Make a religion check.
It's a pretty good roll. Got a +0 on it, even with... Am I proficient in religion? Oh.
I don't know, bro. You tell me.
I'm proficient in religion, but it's...
So add your mod.
And my proficiency bonus. Okay, never mind. Yeah, that's what is that? 18.
You could recognize this symbol from studies of evil in your paladin training and tutelage. This is the symbol of Orcus, the demon prince of undeath. This 8-foot-tall Goliath looks down at you and says, "I've heard a lot about you."
Well, I hope they've been good things.
The names Yogurt. He outstretches a forearm which has this massive dark iron chain that's wrapped around it. And you notice he carries no weapons.
I extend my grip as well.
Okay. The Faceless speaks. Brother, the attacks of the past hours have caused a great stir amongst the high houses. And we have used this to our advantage.
How so?
Well, specifically my agents have found their way into many places within the postings for tomorrow's guardsmanship. Places close to the tribunal.
Anything?
I myself am almost tempted to join in person. I have brought Yaugret with us now as another who longs for Dorvanyek, a house rekindled. Yaugret is somewhat on loan to me from our master. He has been drawn here to assist. And he seeks for one, a child of ravens. This one has eluded him for many years. But that is his business, not mine. Yaugret looks down and says, "There is one who has escaped me, and I do not like being, well, left out to dry. Does the name Kargaren sound familiar to you?" What?
I was saying, is that Mordecai's last name?
Garin?
Yeah. Well, I've heard a name, yes.
Interesting. Very well. Yaugret will be around tomorrow for some, well, in case things go not as we plan.
Yaugret, if you don't mind me asking, what is your relation to the Raven?
To the Raven?
Well, the child of the Raven.
The child of the Raven must die. I was born, or shall I say, reborn, to stop him and his self-righteous piety and mistress from coming to fruition. He has escaped me once. And though my duties have taken me all across Fel Agnar in the recent years, I have ever searched for him.
Very well.
Faceless, if there is anything else, I believe I should return to my men and brief them. Yes. That one that's always seeking to prove himself. Kamal, is it? Bring him with you personally. Duh.
Well, brother. Do you know anything of this jewel of the deep?
Our agents believe that someone in the coast, particularly someone of a high house, might have taken it to gain potential control over the oceans, the destruction of other naval fleets, the propulsion of their own, domination of trade, and unlimited protection of their own naval acquisitions.
I believe that to be Lady Morgana.
I've had my own suspicions as well.
Well, if Dorvanik is ever to stand, the coast must stand as well.
I remember your words of late.
So Lady Morgana must fall.
Oh, without question. She will die.
Vosmir is an acceptable casualty as well.
Oh, yes. Our father shall be presiding over the tribunal come dawn.
The Ravagers will feast on the flesh of the righteous, but we will also feast on the corruption that guides them.
The impure light must be snuffed for the true flames of power to take its place. You are right, brother. Vosmir will die.
I believe we can make a rather grand entrance.
Mayhaps. I think it best that I shall let you know that we will be in waiting, and that you will use your place in Vaklu as a chance to measure the tide. If things are going according to plan and any evidence presented might, shall we say, bring Morgana to her knees, then a grand entrance may not be needed, but instead a soft and quiet judgment.
I am impressed by your current acts of subterfuge.
Indeed. I will give you this decree, however. You shall feast on our father's blood, but he will know that it is I who gathered the forces to best him. He shall see my face as one discarded worthless, faceless, before he knows death.
He will kneel before House Dorvonic and view the faces of his sons, twisted in anger and revenge. Vengeance is nigh, and the gods reward the patient. We do this for our mother and for a new coast.
From life discarded comes the choice of a new god. A chance at that which life in the arms of Vossamer could never bring. Your scent is that of the prince of hunger, and mine is the prince of second chances. He shall die, slain by sons of a new adoption. And the blades of Orcus and Yanogu shall strike upon him. This is my decree. Vire. Yes, my lord. Gather others of your bloodline. They have been waiting to drink, and I have kept them sated. Let them know that they shall feast with brothers of another ilk.
And then Alec returns to face the both of them. And in this moment, reaching out again, this just giant reaches out his forearm again. But as he says this, he echoes the same message in his Call of the Ravager to speak to those in the area.
Mm-hmm. Make a charisma check.
Hey man, I really like these new dice. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm rolling really good.
What's the roll?
So, do I add proficiency on a skill? Like, can charisma have proficiency?
On a check, no.
Okay.
It's just on saving throws.
In that case, it's a dirty 20.
You feel the projection of your call of ferocity echo out. I'm rolling percentile dice, everybody. I rolled a 70. So that's good to know. You feel that your call of the hunt echoes out across the city. And you feel just little pinpricks in the back of your neck as you feel others connect with your call.
Brother, be it. Brothers, tomorrow we feast on the flesh and the children of light, and we bask in the dawn of a new age, a new house, and we reap the rewards and the riches of House Hontari.
And that is where we are going to end our first session of Ire and Dice. Thank you so much for listening and for starting this new podcast adventure with us. We're super excited to have you guys along. Thank you so much for dealing with us figuring out how to do a recording and all of the things that entails. We're super excited to continue our campaign. Thankful for you guys. Have a good one.